Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you game 2 in a series between Lalush versus Polt Prime here on Xel'Naga Caverns. Lalush spawning as the red Zerg once again, Polt Prime spawning as the blue Terran player. Terran versus Zerg here in the Xel'Naga Caverns, and we'll see if Polt Prime once again opens up with that double racks pressure. Now he did try to open up with the double racks pressure in game 1 on Shakura's Plateau, but he wasn't really able to capitalize on it. He was able to trade his armies, take down a couple of roaches and a couple of spine crawlers as well, but really not able to get enough economic damage done. And eventually Lalush, even though Polt Prime did do a good job exchanging his army, always losing more units than his opponent, he was unable to battle back through, especially as Polt Prime was constantly trying to just fight with a lot less harvesters throughout the game. We can see that Polt now setting up a supply depot. We are getting drones trained up by Lalush, sitting at 12 over 18 right now. He should be getting even more and more drones trained up, and we'll see if he goes for an early hatchery or if he goes for perhaps a spawning pool first. Now, Xel'Naga Caverns, one of those maps where you always have to be very careful if a Terran player tries to do anything sneaky. Sneaky as in a double or perhaps even a triple racks rush is possible, but this time around Polt Prime opening up with a standard refinery instead. So it is going to be a refinery now placed down, and we will be getting some gas. A drone already making its way out to do some scouting, and the drone going to be very happy to see a refinery being placed down. So it is going to be a gas now in play. And the timing on that gas may mean that we could be getting perhaps, I would guesstimate, a factory after a supply depot here, as a drone now walks up the ramp, already upgrading to an orbital command. The SCV now trying to do some scouting as well, as we should be getting a supply depot on that front door. And yes, are we going to get it in time? Yes, we are going to get it. The drone, however, going to try to get as much damage as possible before that Marine pops out. The SCV very smartly decides to come back over here, and now out comes a Marine. The Marine going after this one particular drone, but the drone going to just try to grow up and be an extractor. No, not being an extractor, just constantly being an annoyance here as the SCV now comes in and deals some damage. We are going to have this SCV make its way off to the north. There's that factory that I was talking about just a moment ago, as an SCV now charges up the ramp to take a good look at what's happening inside the base of Lalush. Lalush currently getting up that spawning pool. No extractor yet, so there are not going to be any speedlings, as there is an extractor over here, but that doesn't really count. We are now getting a reactor being placed down, and what you're going to see is that these two buildings are going to swap locations, and then this one factory is going to come down here, and the barracks will actually go right here, as this Marine is not going to be able to destroy this extractor. We can see that the hatchery is over here up and running. There is a Marine activating, or SCV activating this Xel'Naga watchtower. This Marine was looking for some overlords, couldn't find them. And now the Marine just running all the way back home, trying to handle this one extractor. But that extractor gonna get canceled again? Yes, it canceled and perhaps rebuilt. No, not rebuilt, as a command center now being built. And now Lalush does see the extra command center, so he knows that there is going to be a fast expansion attempt. Another supply depot being built there. There's that reactor. Two Marines, well, one Marine on the ramp, but that Zergling is going to spot that one reactor there, and he knows what is coming. Double Hellions as a tech lab now being added on as well. Two spine crawlers being built into play. One here. That Hellion harass is not going to be dealing that much damage toward the drone. Just a mere annoyance, as those Impaler tentacles have a decent range. Two Hellions now on the move out. There's going to be perhaps a Queen on the ramp. Oh no, no Queens on the ramp, as a Roach Warren now coming into play. So the Roach Warren, about 45 seconds, and uprooting. So the Spine Crawler uprooting and changing directions, as the Hellions quickly take down one Zergling. But we are going to be getting that Roach Warren there. The Roach Warren will be able to prevent any of those Hellions from getting any true damage onto those drones here, as we are going to perhaps try to make its way forward once more. A Queen already in position, and these Hellions not going to be dealing that much damage, as Lalush already has the proper defense in play. It looks like there is not much up here, so if the Hellions were actually able to drive by, that would be very beneficial there, as perhaps the Hellions going to try to push in around the corner, and it is going to be coming in around the corner, getting some damage onto those drones. One drone is going to be torched, another drone may get torched. Yes, another 2 drones is torched as those Hellions able to cause those units to just kind of push back there. And now the Hellions are just going to sit off in this position and take down another drone. So that was a give me drone there, as roaches are now finally out, and those Hellions really need to back off. Those Hellions got to be very careful. One going to be lost to an Impaler Tentacle as the Hellions desperately try to return home. The command center is already up. We are now going into Marines. Marines stim pack now being researched with siege tanks as well. And we are adding another reactor, so it is going to be Marauders, Marines, and siege tanks. As the orbital command now going to drop down over here, the Hellions most likely will get repaired rather easily, as now Polt Prime establishing these supply depots here, making it very difficult for Zerglings and Roaches to just simply try to run by. We can see that the siege tech has not been started. The reactor about 2/3, 3/4 of the way done, as now SCV is now transferring to the low ground, but first going to do some auto repair work on some of those Hellions, those race cars, just moving around so fast, taking a lot of damage. Need to get those tires changed every once in a while. Anyways, back over here, the Hellions are going to make another move in just a moment. Hellions now making their way out, going to get some damage onto this one particular Roach here, but the Roach is microwing against this Hellion. The Hellion down to 10 hit points and now backing off, and this Roach taking a lot of damage, a lot of unnecessary damage, but he was actually able to finish off that last Hellion. So all of that micro there, the focus fire actually worked out, as now a sea of Zerglings on the move across the map, 24 of them, and now there are going to be some Marines here. The Marines need to be very careful, as the Zerglings may be morphing into Banelings. There we go. And now those siege tanks without siege tech, this is going to be a very, very bad day. Marines now out in the front, the Hellions now making their way out, and are now running into a group there, and now trying to fight back there. The Banelings are going to be able to find their target, destroying all of those units, as now the Zerglings running in and taking down so many of those SCVs, but the Zerglings are now a little bit stuck. Marines are just getting shot very, very quickly, as the siege tank attacks very quickly there, able to shut down a couple of those Zerglings even without siege tech. Harvester count 48 drones compared to 39 SCVs, as lalush looks to establish. Did he establish a macro hatch? Yes, he is establishing a macro hatch here, since he is going for those Roaches and those Zerglings. He wants to make sure that he has enough larvae in order to really dump his minerals. You can see him sitting on 800, 600 now, trying to just macro up as quickly as possible. And you're going to see him sitting on a large amount of larvae in just a moment, but now quickly training up 8 Roaches. 2 spine crawlers in the front. You can see another queen being added, Glio reconstitution being added as well. So 8 Roaches, 10 Zerglings, as this tank Marine Marauder army now making a move out. And this is going to be very difficult, as lalush does have creep tumors down here. And now also the Zerglings and the Marines doing a little bit of a forward push, taking down all of those creep tumors, and now the spine crawlers also taking some damage as well. The siege tanks are going to be playing their game of hopscotch forward. Banelings are morphing into position, or not into position, just morphing forward, as the siege tank continue to blast away at some of those spine crawlers there. The spine crawlers taking even more damage, as the Marines are continuing to just try to push their way forward. Those Banelings, there are a decent number of them, and another round of creep tumors gonna get destroyed, so the movement speed upgrade is going to be neutralized. But the Banelings do have that Glio recon, or sorry, the centrifugal hooks now being researched, as the Marauders trying to dish damage against that hatchery. The hatchery taking a lot of damage there, and now going after some of those drones instead. Roaches also coming back as well, as the spine crawlers are now pushing their way forward once more, and the spine crawlers and now Roaches and Banelings making their way in. The spine crawlers taking in a lot of damage, and the Marines now taking a lot of damage as well. Decent split so far, but the siege tank line was so far behind. Roaches are going to continue to push their way in, but reinforcements of Marines coming in from behind, and with one siege tank still there, this one spine crawler will get taken down. And now lalush is in a bit of trouble. There's this one spine crawler here that's going to take a shelling as well. And with more Banelings now coming into position, it's going to be very, very critical. Will the siege tank be able to get any more damage? The Marines need to back off. There you go. The siege tank getting even more hits. And now this siege tank may get taken down. And finally, a medevac coming to the party just a little bit late. The siege tank needs to take down those Banelings. Is it, yeah, able to splash apart the Banelings? And now finally the siege tank will get taken down. Will it get taken down? Oh yes, the final shot there, as the Zerglings try to surround and swarm, but unable to do so. Another wave of Marines coming again into the play, and now a lot more of these Overlords are going to get taken down as well. So lalush has to be very careful. He's just trying to buy time, it looks like, by sacrificing Overlords in order to morph in more Banelings. That would normally not be very smart, but the Banelings now once again rolling in, if able to find some targets. The Siege Tank blasting apart all of those Banelings there, and now you can see a decent job. Will those Banelings get taken down? Yes, they are, and now Marauders and Marines in position to once again try to take down this hatchery. Drones are being transferred to the low ground. Another Spine Crawler finally down as the Spire comes into play. The Spire about halfway done. The drones are trying to pull back, as they are going to be taking a lot of damage, and the Siege Tank needs to perhaps push its way forward just a little bit. No, in comes the Zerglings. Zerglings now trying to swarm around, and it looks like the Marines are just going to simply be pulling back again. Banelings coming in to deal more damage, but a decent split happening as the Marauders and the Zerglings. Marauder taking a ton of damage by those Zerglings, and just this constant battle moving back and forth. Production, the Spire about to be completed. More Banelings once again being morphed in as the Marauders trying to shut down this hatchery here. lalush losing the hatchery finally, and now running off of one base, and there he goes, able to reset the economy. So now running off of one base with some long distance mining, that is going to be a problem. The Zerglings now trying to make their way in. We may be getting some Mutalisks into the air in just a moment, as we do have a fair amount of gas. Another hatchery finally being replaced there, but we can already see that Polt Prime looking to establish his gold expansion, and will be able to do so in just a moment. So that relentless attack finally taking its toll, as this command center will be upgraded to a planetary fortress most likely, and Polt Prime is going to try to press his advantage. 5 Mutalisks now being trained. There's already a missile turret, armor upgrade now being added as well. One poor Marine trying to push out, trying to capture a Xel'Naga watchtower, and no concussive shells on those Marauders. So I'm a bit surprised that there are no concussive shells, especially when you are fighting against Banelings. Being able to slow them down is a definite benefit there. Marines are upgraded 1-0 as the Zerglings are going to try to swarm in, and just going to be able to make it up the ramp. No, going to be able to supply block or raise up that supply depot just in time. The Banelings now running into the mineral line here, and they will be able to take down some SCVs. Yes, all those SCVs taken down there as the Marines need to make their way forward. Those Zerglings just doing a decent run by, and now getting some damage onto these supply depots here, not burning, as there is, I believe, one Zergling still getting a lot of damage, but in comes a large army of Marines and Marauders, and lalush finally has to say GG after losing this hatchery, and very well played by Polt. So Polt Prime, even though he was supply blocked at 137 over 137, able to macro up enough units and get back into this game, or get back into the series, evening up the series at 1 game apiece. Stay tuned for Game 3 between lalush and Polt Prime.